Hello and welcome back. The last video we did for HTML, we really focused on creating the structure of the HTML. We focused on maybe some divs and maybe some paragraph tags. We also looked at some stuff on the website WC3 Schools. What we want to do now, after we've already added our stories to HTML, is we're going to go ahead and update our HTML, and we're going to add some images and some links. Learn how to do those things, because what's a story without some images, especially online? You know, people don't normally go online to simply read. They go online to read and to see images or videos or something like that. So we want our story to have those elements. So what I'm going to do here, I kind of want to go over the normal process of things when we're building a website. Now, what we just did in the previous video is that we built a web page. Now, a web page doesn't exist on its own. It exists within the website. So what I would like you to think of a website as is just a folder. That's it. So yes, it's a folder on a server some other place, but it's just a folder holding some files. So if we want to build our local website on our computer, what we want to do is start off by creating a folder. So I'm going to go over here and build my website. So I'm going to right click here and I'm going to create a folder, an empty folder. I'm just going to call this www.mystory.com. And there's my website. Now, there's nothing in it, but it's still my website. Here I have Notepad open. And basically, the way I find Notepad, I just go here to Cortana inside of Windows, and I type Note, and here's Notepad. So I'm going to make sure I open that, because I have to do this inside of Notepad and not inside of Word. So I click on Notepad. Notepad will open up, and here's Notepad here. I can start typing, but the first thing I always like to do, really, when I'm really building a website, if I'm going to be using Notepad, which we won't be using in the future, but this is for educational purposes, so it's important that we do it through Notepad first, is we go to File, Save As, and I'm going to change this area down here to All Files, and then I can change this one to index.html. Now, just to let you know, index simply means the first page. You know, it's we're not going to go into too in depth of how the server looks at this, but for right now, understand that index is the first page that's going to pop up on your website. So I call that index.html. I'm going to change this ANSI down here to UTF-8, and then I can save, and now you can see how it pops up here. It looks like it wants to open up in Chrome, whatever your default browser is. And while if I click on this, it'll open up in Chrome. You'll see I click on it, it says, hey, this is a Chrome file you want to open up in Chrome. I'll hit yes. And it's a blank web page, but it's still a web page nonetheless. The thing is, though, if I want to re-edit this, what I have to do, I can't double click on it because it's not going to open up in the text Notepad. So what I have to do is I have to right click on this, and then I have to go open with, and then I can open it with Notepad, and then it'll open up here, as you can see. Now, here's where I want to add my code. So I'm just going to put some boilerplate, you know, HTML here. So right now, what I want to do is I want to format this. I notice I have this HTML tag, and for every tag, there's a closing tag. So I'm going to go ahead and go between the HTML tag, tab these over inside of Notepad. So I know that everything inside of here is inside the HTML, and I also know that this HTML has a closing tag because it's in direct line with it. I'm going to do the same thing here with the head tag, so I'm going to push over that title. Same thing with the body tag, I'm going to push these two over. What I'm going to do here inside of the index page is I'm going to go ahead and make myself a menu. But I'm going to do the menu as a list. So the way we're going to do these lists is I'm going to put this list inside of the body. I'm going to put this list right above the story title. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this list inside of a div, and I'm going to call that the menu. So I'm going to put div here and close that div, just like what we did in the previous video. And I'm going to format this so that way I understand that this is inside the body. So I'm tabbing that over twice. Now I'm going to give this div an identification, so it's different than the other divs. And the way you do that with divs is in between these brackets. I'm going to go right after div, hit a space, and I'm going to say ID equals, and I'm going to put these two apostrophes there. And you could use quotes, by the way. So I'm going to say this div's ID, or this div's name, is going to be menu. So now this div here has a name and it's called menu. The thing you need to understand about the IDs is that an ID has to be unique, meaning it is unlike any other ID. So if I had another ID here called menu, that's not going to work. I'm going to have to make sure that no other ID is called menu on this page. Now, if I had another page, I can definitely have the menu there. As a matter of fact, after I'm done with this menu, I'm basically going to copy it to the other pages. So this is why a lot of times I like creating this menu first before I go to all these other pages like the About page and the Story page. So I create the index page first, the base structure of the index, then I go to the other pages. So right here, I'm going to go inside of here and I'm going to make an unordered list. And the way we start an unordered list is we're going to make these brackets, put UL, and I always close these brackets immediately to make sure that I'm not making any mistakes here. I'm going to put it inside this div, and inside of this UL, I'm going to go ahead and put a list item. So I put LI, and I close LI. And then what I like to do is I copy this. So I'm going to put about, and I'm going to go down here and paste this one. In between these brackets, I'm going to put story. Or I can put the story. So on the index page, it's like welcoming people to your website. Then they have a link where they can go to the story. And then they have a link where they can go to the about. But right now, these are not links. So if I were to save this and I were to go back here and refresh this page, you'll see they're not really links. It's just a list. So what I want to do is I want to make these items link to these pages. So how do I do that? I basically use another tag. So within this, I could place a link around this entire list, but that's not really good form. So I'm going to place the link inside of here, encapsulating this word about, because I want the word about to be clickable. So I go in here and I create my tags, and I'm going to do what's called an ahref tag. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put an A there, and basically it's an anchor tag. I'm going to put an A there. I'm going to say href, and I put equals, and then I'm going to put quotes. And I always start it this way because I like to have the format first, and then I'm going to close this up, the anchor tag. So I'm going to put the brackets there, put the slash, and then A. So now I have my link all set up, and this has a link to it. Now, if I were to save this and I were to refresh this, you'll notice there's an underline and it turned blue. While that is a link, it just doesn't lead to anywhere. As you can see, I'm clicking it. It's not going anywhere because I don't have anything within these quotes here. And while I haven't created the files yet, I am going to create the other files from the index to the about to the story. Now, that means that's 3 pages. As you can see, there's no pages here yet, but I'm going to go ahead and put the links there. Based on the names, I'm going to give those page names. So I'm going to go ahead and put here about, and that's going to be a .html. So you always have to make sure you add the extension to the file name. And if I were to save this and go to File and Save, and then refresh this page here, you'll see I have the About and the Story here. But the About goes to a page that doesn't exist yet. It's trying to go to the About page, so it's looking inside of this folder for an About page, which is not there. So that's why you get this, oops, can't find the file thing. So I'm going to go back here. And I'm going to go do the same thing with the story page, but also I'm going to want an index page, meaning the index page, meaning the home page, the page that people first encounter when they come to your website. So I'm going to change things up just a little bit. Instead of just saying my story, I'm going to say welcome And then instead of being here as the title, because I'm on the index page, instead of just saying the title, my title, I'm going to say welcome message, whatever you put there, you know, as a welcome message. And then you can put whatever down here. And here, instead of saying the story, I'm going to put a link there. So I'm going to open and close these brackets. And I'm going to put ahref equals, and that's going to be called the story page dot html. Not story page, but it's called story.html. And I need to close this up. So when I go back here, I should have two links. I'm going to refresh this. I have two links that lead to nowhere. The other link that I'm going to need, or the other page concept I'm going to need up here, is the link to the home page. So I'm going to copy this link here, and I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to rename this index.html. And I'm going to name this home page. So now I have three links. Let me go back here. I have three links. I have the home, I have the about, and I have the story. Home goes back to home, which means I'm not going to need a link to home on the home page. But the reason why I put this link here, because I need this to be copied to the other pages. So now that I have all this stuff set up in the home page, I can now go here and copy my index page and just rename it to the other pages. So I'm going to select this index page. I'm going to copy and paste it. And then I'm going to rename it to the links that I have up here. So I'm going to rename this to about. I'm going to copy and paste this. And I'm going to rename this to story. And I already have the HTML extension, as you can see here. So now when I go here and I refresh this, I can go to home, I can go to about, and I can go to story. Now, it doesn't seem like anything's happening, but you notice when I clicked it, it didn't go to that page, could not find, because it is going to those pages, except we didn't change anything in those pages, so it looks like it's not going anywhere. If you look at your URL at the top, it'll show you that you are actually going to those pages. All we need to now do is go here, is change the text inside these pages. So I'm going to right-click, open with Notepad, and I'm just going to change this. I can see I'm in the about page. I'm going to change this to about us. And the menu item is going to be the same, except I don't need an about us link. So I'm going to remove the reference there. And I'm going to change this title here, this header, to about us. And about us. And then I can save all of that. Now when I go here and I refresh, the home page should be the same, the story page is the same, but the about us page, obviously you can see that that's different. I'm going to do the same thing with the story page. I'm going to right click on that, go to open with Notepad, and now I'm going to change this to story. And this is where you want your story, actually, if that wasn't obvious to you. Change this to story. I can probably put this the story, and then the story. So right now I'm in the story page, so I can remove the story page link here. And I'm going to save that. Now I can remove the link from the home page, whereas that's the about page. Here's the home page. I'm going to remove the home link from the home page. And then I'm going to save that. So now I have a complete website. If I refresh this, I have my home page link, my about page, and my story page. Perfect. Now you got a website going. It's inside of a web folder, and you have the web documents inside of that website. So we want to move forward from here. And the best way to move forward now is, now that we can navigate through our web page, our website, we want to now go ahead and start adding some images. So we got our link, we got our navigation and everything going on. And I think the links is really going to start bringing things to life. And obviously, you're going to have your actual story, your actual about information, and your actual welcome message that you want to give to the user as they're entering into this website. So I hopefully this was helpful to you guys. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comment section below. Make sure you email me if you have any questions based on the video. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Because what's a story without images, right? So I'll see you guys in the next video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. You can go ahead and email me also. And hopefully this was helpful. I'll see you guys next time.